We've got Adrian in Orlando.
Hi, this is Adrian.
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good.
Thanks for calling and waiting.
Oh, thank you. No problem. I know that you, Matt, really dislike when people say that they think trees prove God. So I wanted to tell you how trees made me become an atheist.
All right, go for it.
I had a friend that at the time I was sort of a super agnostic, the ones that say you can't possibly know, and kind of a pantheist. And a friend asked me if I thought trees had souls. So I thought about what a soul was, memories and emotions and moral judgments and all that good stuff. And I realized that I already knew that all of that was functions of the brain. And if you alter brain chemistry or brain structure, you change that part of the person's personality. And so trees couldn't have souls because they don't have brain, and so it didn't make any sense for humans to have souls if their brains disintegrate after death. And that's kind of when I stopped believing anything spiritual.
I never attached a soul to a brain. In my perspective, when I still believed in a sort of a life force, something rather similar to what the Jedi believe in. I think that was actually my religion for about 15 years or so. I envisioned that heaven that's occupied only by human beings is going to be a very boring place. It wasn't realistic, even from a theistic perspective. From my perspective, it always has been that if humans have a soul, then so does grass, and so do hamsters, and so does green algae.
Well, for me, it was everything that's associated with the soul usually has to do with parts of the personality. Because if none of your personality goes on after death, then what's the point of your soul living? It's just nothing.
Yeah, and somebody raised a point in email the other day, which reminded me of a discussion that we'd had before. And I'll go ahead and let you go on this, but thanks a lot for calling, Adrian.
Okay, thank you.
For the theists out there, the Christians in particular, who think that they're going to go to heaven when they die. If you have family members or children and loved ones who don't believe as you do, and you are convinced that they are then going to spend eternity or perhaps some really long time in hell, what's it going to be like for you in heaven? Because to me, what defines an individual is everything about them, their hopes, their desires, their dreams, their passions, etc. And if I am a parent and my child is in hell, I think I'm going to be sad about that. But if you're not supposed to be sad in heaven, and then are you in heaven? I mean, if you're in heaven and this God creature has made you forget about your past life, well, then you're not you anymore.
If they can, in this life, believe mutually exclusive things, and somehow reconcile that, then I'm sure that there's some sort of super drug that gets administered when you're in heaven such that those realities are put out of your mind. But even if we didn't have a hell to worry about for our loved ones, if we're only looking at heaven and what heaven is, I think I've seen it in an old episode of Twilight Zone that dealt with a little boy named Anthony Fremont who had the ability to wish people into the cornfield and turn them into unspeakable things. And just imagine being trapped in a house with a being that petty, vengeful, jealous, wrathful, vindictive in the extreme, and he knows what you're thinking. And you're there for eternity. Eventually, you're going to think something wrong. This is the perspective that heaven has always presented to me, being trapped with an inescapable tyrant.
Yeah. But if you're up there, and you're not, I mean, every one of the explanations that I hear from apologists puts it in the position of the person who is in heaven is not the same person who was down here. And so you didn't actually get to heaven. Some facsimile of you was created in heaven as an approximation. So nobody goes to heaven. Something to think about.